Every nation has its giants, those who rise above fear, who carry the weight of freedom on their shoulders. In Zimbabwe, that name is Joshua Nkomo, Zimbabwe, a man who walked the long road from herdsboy to freedom fighter, from exile to statesman, and from enemy of the state to national hero. Today, we're exploring the remarkable story of Joshua, often called uMdala Wethu, our old man. His life was a testament to sacrifice, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to his people's freedom. Welcome to Peak World. If you're new, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Joshua Nkomo was born on June 19, 1917 in Matopos, then known as Southern Rhodesia. He was raised in a Mbele family, one of 8 children. His father, Thomas, was a preacher and a cattle rancher who worked for the London Missionary Society. His early life was filled with various jobs. He was a driver, a delivery boy for a local bakery, and a carpenter. But he had an unquenchable thirst for education. In 1941, having saved just enough for a single year of secondary school, he embarked on a life-changing journey by train to Durban, South Africa. He enrolled at Adams College. Despite being years older than his classmates, he persevered. He later recalled the embarrassment of squeezing his large adult frame into desks designed for children. It was the kindness of a school clerk, a Mrs. Hoskins, who paid his fees after the first year that kept him going. In 1944, thanks again to Mrs. Hoskins, he moved to Johannesburg and the Jan Hofmeyr School of Social Science, where he earned his diploma. While there, he was influenced by giants of the South African struggle, Dr. A.B. Shuma, the then ANC president and the first black doctor in South Africa, and Anton Lembede, an architect of African nationalism who heavily influenced leaders like Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo. Nkomo returned to Rhodesia in 1947, becoming the first African social worker employed by Rhodesia Railways. After his time in South Africa, he was politically charged and influenced by the African National Congress. He was immediately drawn into the labor movement, and by 1951, he was the secretary of the Railway Workers Association, a powerful but disorganized union he quickly built into a formidable organization. In October 1949, he married Johanna Mafuyana. A man deeply devoted to his cause, Nkomo famously told his wife that she must understand she was his second wife, because his first wife was the liberation struggle itself. Nkomo stepped into the political spotlight in 1952 when he was elected president of the African National Congress, AN Congress. He fiercely opposed the proposed federation of the 2 Rhodesias and Nyasaland, the countries we know today as Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Malawi, and his outspoken opposition turned him into a national hero. When the AN Congress was reformed in 1957, Nkomo was again elected its president. The organization vigorously campaigned against the Discriminatory Land Husbandry Act, a fight that further solidified his status as a national icon. In December 1958, while Nkomo was abroad, a state of emergency was declared in southern Rhodesia, and hundreds of his AN Congress members were detained. Advised by friends not to return, he set up an external office in London to gain international support for the movement. He was soon elected president of a new party after the old one was banned, the National Democratic Party, NDP, but a major fracture was brewing. In 1961, Nkomo initially accepted a new constitutional agreement, but after his followers called the deal diabolical and disastrous, he famously repudiated his own decision, stating, "A leader is he who expresses the wishes of his followers. No sane leader can disregard the voice of his people." After the NDP was banned, Nkomo immediately formed its successor, the Zimbabwe African People's Union, ZAPU, but it too was banned just 9 months later. This period was marked by a deep ideological and personal rift that led to the 1963 split. While Nkomo was abroad, critics like Ndabaningi Sithole and Robert Mugabe accused him of losing touch. Sithole and his supporters broke away, forming the Zimbabwe African National Union, ZANU. This set the stage for violent internal strife between ZAPU and ZANU factions. It is a common hope among historians that this split had never happened. allowing them to fight for liberation as a united front, as the history of Zimbabwe would have been very different today. The story of the political party split is a repetition of what happened in South Africa when the African National Congress split, with a faction led by Robert Sobukwe. Both breakaway parties were backed by China, while the ANC and ZAPU were Soviet-backed. These two movements were nationalist, while the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania and ZANU were Pan-African movements. It's unclear if they are still adhering to those ideologies today. In April 1964, the government arrested Joshua Nkomo and restricted him to the desolate Gonakudzingwa camp in the southeast. This was the start of a 10.5-year period of restriction. Despite his isolation, Nkomo thought deeply about the future of nationalism. His stance hardened on one fundamental issue: he would accept nothing short of majority rule now. As he later put it, "I would be silly to get anything short of majority rule after suffering all those years." His detention couldn't silence his influence, and he continued to call for unity, famously smuggling out a message to a colleague. The only difference has been personalities. While he was in detention, the ZAPU Army Wing, ZIPRA, and the ANC's armed wing, uMkhonto, Sizwe, were involved in a joint mission, what is known today as the Wankie Campaign, in 1967. Nkomo worked very well with the ANC leader par excellence, Oliver Tambo. They were comrades in arms. They were together in Zambia, and both of them were close to Kaunda. Nkomo was suddenly released in November 1974. He immediately returned to the political arena, and in 1976, he and Robert Mugabe, the leader of the ZANU faction, announced the formation of the Patriotic Front. This joint political and military alliance was a crucial turning point, uniting ZAPU ZIPRA and ZANU ZANLA for the final push. This army union is known as the Zimbabwe People's Army and was led by Solomon Mujuru from ZANLA and Nikita Alfred Manjena from ZIPRA. The war intensified, and both armies fought with courage against the Rhodesian government. However, the joint army faced deep challenges due to tribalism, a tragic reality that caused friction within the liberation movements. The long journey culminated at the Lancaster House Conference in London in September 1979. Nkomo attended with his top lieutenant Dumiso Dabengwa, while the ZANU delegation was led by Robert Mugabe. The ZANLA commander, Josiah Tongogara, represented the army, and according to Dabengwa, Tongogara wanted Nkomo to lead the Patriotic Front, saying he was a born leader. ZANU refused to unite with ZAPU before the election, and tragically, Tongogara died mysteriously before it could take place. Joshua Nkomo returned home on January 13, 1980, to a welcome by huge crowds. He led his party, the Patriotic Front, into the first election. Mugabe's victory was influenced by several factors. Many people voted along tribal lines. He was a charismatic Shona man, and Western countries favored him over Nkomo's Soviet-backed party. During the Cold War, the West couldn't risk having a government allied with the Soviet Union, their primary enemy. The story of his mysterious rod, or induku, and whether it was believed to have power, what do you know about it? Funny fact, Nkomo was the oldest cabinet member aged 63 in 1980, but today, if you are 63 is like you are youngstar. After the election, Nkomo was appointed Minister of Home Affairs, but his time in the post was short-lived. In 1982, he was accused of plotting a coup after South African double agents planted arms on ZAPU-owned farms and then tipped off Mugabe. This led to the Gukurahundi massacres, in which many Ndebele people were killed by the ZANU government. This story is also featured in another video on this channel, Apartheid's War on Africa. Many of Nkomo's military and political leaders were arrested, and Nkomo himself survived multiple assassination attempts. In 1983, Nkomo fled to London in self-imposed exile, famously disguised as a woman to cross the Botswana border. He later denied the disguise story, calling it a ridiculous invention, and stated that nothing in my life had prepared me for persecution at the hands of a government led by black Africans. To stop the killings of his people, Nkomo consented to the absorption of ZAPU into ZANU in 1987, creating the unified ZANU-PF. This move effectively made Zimbabwe a one-party state, leading some to accuse Nkomo of selling out. But he told historian Eliakim Sibanda that he did it to stop the murder of the Ndebele. This was true leadership. He compromised for the sake of peace in Zimbabwe. This stands in contrast to figures like Jonas Savimbi from Angola and Afonso Dhlakama, Mozambique, who allowed many of their people to die in war for personal ambition. He became the second vice president in 1990, a position with little real power. With his health failing, his influence declined. Nkomo had a special relationship with Dr. Strive Masiyiwa, the founder and executive chairman of the telecommunications and technology company Econet Global. It is believed he played a big role in helping Dr. Strive Masiyiwa get a license to operate his telecommunications company in Zimbabwe. Joshua Nkomo died of prostate cancer on July 1st, 1999, at the age of 82. He died a hero in his home country, having devoted his life to its liberation. Joshua Nkomo's long service, his ability to rally from near defeat, and his unwavering faith in his people secured his position as one of the true founding fathers of independent Zimbabwe. This man wasn't a regional or tribal leader. He wanted to unite Zimbabwe of all tribes. In honoring him, Zimbabwe must unite and avoid tribalism by all means necessary. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more stories of African leaders. Let us know in the comments which other leaders you would like us to cover next.